Back, we are going to do our third video. So I'm going to make this fish, but using a simple surface and control points. Now I open up our first video, the ending of our first video, so the 2D. So I'm going to put on perspective view. Here I'm going to hide our nodes layer and also the text and the dimension. So I only have auxiliary layers. I'm going to rotate 3D all my 2D drawings. I'm going to use this x-axis defined by 2 points and 90 degrees. Okay, I'm going to rotate now a normal rotation. Now this part is similar to the beginning of the second video, so we just have to put the things on the side. Now I'm going to click shift to make ortho, so it is a 90 degrees angle, and I'm going to copy. Well, I could move, but if I have a problem, I can still get original. So this point, it's going to be here to the tail. Then this big one is going to be here, and finally the green one, that it's going to be our nose. Okay, now I will delete this. I no longer need this, so delete. And here I'm going to choose a point of view. I'm going to choose this one, and I can go to front view. Okay, so I'm going to create a new layer, surface body. Okay, it's going to be my working one. I'm going to change my mode view to render, and I'm going to surface plan corner to corner. I'm going to click from this point to this one. So flat one, let us see in perspective view, change the mode to render. Okay, perfect. Here it is. Now I'm going to start modeling this. How? Here the main idea is by control points, or the command is point on, point off. I'm going to have several points. So I'm going to choose this one, points on, and as this is a simple surface, I only get 4 points on the corners. Now I need more points, so I'm going to ask to have 5 in X and 5 in Y. Now X is going to be converted in U and Y is going to be converted in V. So I will have 5 divisions in U by 5 in V. Okay, so the command is rebuild. This will rebuild the number of points that we are working on. So let me just escape several times to deselect everything. Rebuild. I'm going to select this surface, enter, and now I have this. Okay, now most important, here the degrees before I go to the point count. On the degrees we could have 1, 2, 3, whatever. If I have 1 degree or 1 level degree, I'm making a graphic or curve X elevated to 1. That is, I will have straight segments. If I have 2 here, I will have a curve that is going to be X elevated to square. It means that my curve will be more round. And if I have 3, it's going to be to the cubic. So we could have higher numbers, but to be more organic, I think 3 is going to be good enough. Okay, now u and v, that is x and y direction. I'm going to put 5 by 5, and I'm going to click on rebuild. If I want, I can preview the point, so you can see these cursors. They will be 9 by 9, but they are also here, there, and there. I use even numbers, so I could always get one on the middle. Okay, if you don't want, you can choose another. Okay, rebuild. Now I'm going to select my surface. I'm going to click on points on, so all these points are showing up, and I'm going to choose here in the bottom gumball. Okay, what does this gumball do? Well, when I click in a point, it's going to show me a vector. Gumball, points on, select objects, done. Okay, click on the point. Okay, here it is. So I have this. Now I'm only going to move these points on the perpendicular of this plan. So I'm going to choose this one, and I'm going to move it outside. Now if you want, we can disconnect grid, snap. Okay, I've done one, so you can see here already there is a deformation. I can move this more, and as we move this, as we deform all these points, when we pass to the next level, that is to higher the number of points, some of them will be repositioned, so we need to correct all over this. So for the moment, I'm trying to give only a rough modeling on my fish, because as I will higher this number of points, then I can be more perfect. Okay, so at this moment, what we are going to do is just trying to create this volume here. Okay, do not move these points to this side because we'll have to mirror, so let's only move in one direction. Okay, so for the time being, I'm going to say that this will be enough. Eventually there is this point here that we also can move, and we are going to move to the outside. Okay, for the time being is perfect. Now to have a better clear of this, how I'm deforming this surface, what I'm going to do is I'm going to apply a material. Okay, I normally apply plastic. It's very simple, and I'm going to put very shine. So when I change this, you can see all this configuration. If you don't like this white because it can be blended with the background, we can give an orange, for example, or a cyan color, a light blue one, that can be very nice and will help us to visualize. Okay, I think this could be a good one. So our fish for the moment is this shape. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to build again the number of points. Now if I I'm going first, escape 3 or 4 times, rebuild, select this one, enter, and now we add 5 by 5, but what I want to have is several columns. Okay, so I can move these points towards these directions. So if I want several columns, what I'm doing is I'm dividing in the bottom, and the bottom is X. When translated, it will be U. So I'm going to pass from 5 to, let's say, 9. Okay, I can preview. Okay, eventually I could have more points, so I will put 11. Okay, so this rebuild allows me to see. Now I'm going to select this one, and I'm going to put points on. So we have already the points. See, he created these points, and he somehow made the mean points between the ones we had. So he tries to maintain this aspect. Okay, now I'm going at this moment to front view, and I'm going to put this, for example, ghost or x-ray. I want to see what is the background, so I'm going to put x-ray. I'm going to change here the layer color, so I'll get also this blue. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to adjust these points here according to this curve, more or less. Now, if I'm going to do the following, this is the higher part, this is the lower, and this is also the lower one. So if I start here, I will get like a deformation. If I start here, I will get more like this curve. So I will start for the lower one. Now, if I try to move this down, this will be below these two. So I need first of all to select these points and move them down. Okay, for that I'm going to use the grid snap. So I will move every point. Okay, now I can take off grid snap. I can move slightly up to be more or less according to this one. So that is okay. Now I'm going to get these points, and I'm going to move them here. Okay, now I can move these ones according to my curve. We can have, for instance, intersections, and I'm going to choose this one, move down till I reach there. Now this one, okay, we can make also these two to be slightly faster, and then we'll go again to this and adjust it. This one, see, when I adjust, the curve is getting more or less the shape. Now this one has to go down. See, now I cannot go as down as I did with the others. This one here, this I can move slightly down, this also. Okay, now we are trying to adjust these two curves, and for this one we will use a slightly different technique. So I'm going to put this point here as my nose there. Okay, so what is doing this curve is like making this and this. We can see more or less the effect. So now I will have to decrease this to create here a mean curve. Okay, so I'm getting slightly down, and this one, okay, like this, our fish. And now this is going to be moved down, but if I go fully down, as there is a common point, I cannot. So what I do is I move this as down as I can, and then move slightly to my right side. I get the upper one, I move it as down as possible without touching the previous one, and now I'm going to move it slightly to the inside. This I will move a little bit to the outside so I can get this curve, okay? Because on this column I cannot touch. Now on the other one we'll have also to readjust these ones. I'm doing visually according to one sensibility of what could be this curve. If you want, you could use twin curves to try to find the curves in between and then use them as a reference. I'm doing this more or less with or through my sensibility, and I'm trying to adjust this curve. Okay, I consider that for the time being is okay. Now moving this down, and this should be moved up. Now I can go down with this, and this one has to be slightly up. Okay, so the upper part is done, so let us go do the lower part. If you want, you could have more vertical, and that's what I'm going to do, but there is a reason why I'm not choosing too much points, because okay, so we did this, that's our fish at the moment, but I still have to control these ones to move them outside and inside, and if I have too much points it will get difficult. So it's better with less points to control this effect, and then I will do. So what I see is that these points here I have to bring them outside. So let's go again to the front view and let's do the lower part. Now let's move this point up, here, and then slightly to the inside, but only these two we are doing this. All the others we are just moving up and down. So this we have to move it up, and now sorry, and now we can move these ones up. I choose a window type, and then we'll go to this when we arrive there. Now this point here, now I have to adjust it, so as I adjust I can go back and put slightly up or down, and That's basically what we are doing, is somehow sculpting our fish, but using a very simple surface. Okay, here I should start it on this point, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a window to select them. Let me see. Okay, shift, so I only have the point selected, and I'm going to move this. No, it's selected. Okay, so I will pick the points with the shift. I will add, and then move this up here. This one I will move there, and this one I will start making this curve. It can be slightly down. Okay, now this point go up, this also there, moving. Okay, this is a question of trial error. Okay, so don't be mad if at the beginning it might not be as perfect as you wish, but you will get there. Okay, so this I'm going to move slightly up here. I will not follow exactly this one because we needed more curves. This one, now we can go lower, and it seems for the time being, in terms of elevation, okay. So in perspective, see, our fish is taking shape. Now I need to do the following. Either I will move these points slightly up, so I can make this instead of like this, so to go slightly up, and then I have to push them towards me. So again, front view. So now we put these points here. Now I'm going to move this near to this red one, because this is the fin, and this one will represent the body of our fish. Okay, now this one I will have to be careful because you cannot overpass it, but I can choose both, and I can see by moving both how it's going to be the end result. Again, slightly up, and then I will take this here near this one, because I'm doing this because I want this scene to be as plan or as flat as possible. This I'm going to move like this, and now this one's slightly up, so the belly would have a higher curvature. Now another way that you could work is, okay, we have the perspective view, so I put 4 views. We can move this down, and we can move this up, and like this we could see what we are doing in both views. So I'm going to make a pan here, I'm going to rotate, and I can have more or less a clue of our fish is going to is being transformed. Okay, this one slightly up, this one also slightly up, this I'm going also to move up, and now I will let these ones, this also up, to have a better curvature. Okay, for the time moment I think that's okay, it's acceptable. Now on the tail, our tail is not ending flat, so I will need to choose some points. I'm going to apply some transparency to our fish for the moment to help me visualize the points. So like this is okay. Rotate. So I have this column and this one. So I'm going to choose this point and this one. So in this case it's too close, I need to make a zoom, a bigger one. Okay, perfect. Now meanwhile I click in escape twice, so I have to ask for the points again. This point, shift, and this one. Now I'm going to move crossing to the green axis till my point is near this red curve. Okay, like that I'm going to configure the shape. Okay, for the moment, yes. We could, for instance, instead of being select the points there, we could select them here. Now I can normally I select the points like this. If I do a window from left to right, upper or bottom, I get this kind of window. This is called window, and only the things that are inside are selected. If I select from right to left, I get this dashed window. This means that I'm making a crossing, so it will select everything it touches. Okay, now as I'm not able to do this window type, okay, so I'm going to select the points. There are only two pairs in this way. Now I'm going to move it to the outside. Okay, and then this point here and this one there. Going to move it, slice it to the outside. Let us check how it is. It's not yet good enough, so yes, we have to move it outside there. And for this one I will move them slightly to the bottom, so I can make this curve. I can go slightly more. Okay, now I will click these two and I will move them up. And then towards the outside. So I can get this curvature, so they can go also slightly up. And now they have to go slightly in. Now I just have to adjust these two pairs to be a little bit inside. Okay, for the moment it's nice. Now I have this point here, this one, and this one, and I'm going to move them slightly to the outside. Okay, so this is growing. I need also to move this one a little bit. Okay, and I think that's good enough for the moment. Okay, so this part of the fish is done, but we didn't finish our model, so we need to do more. Now, what is the next step? Well, the next step will be similar to this one, but instead of doing this with 11, I'm going to increase them. I can increase 2 or 3 times more. If I do 3, if I did 2, I will have a line here. If I have 3, I will have more. We can, let me see, yes. Now I think it's better for the moment to build more points. Yes, we can build vertically. So rebuild this one, and let us put 22 for the moment. Make a preview. So 22 is going to get us a lot of points here. If we add 33, that is to have 2 points between them, eventually that will be too much. Okay, but what I see, I think 22 will be enough. So if you want to make it more perfect with more details, then you put 33. Now another thing that we could do is, instead of 5 here, we can increase this to 9. But first I'm going to move this up, and then I will return and make a final rebuild. So we'll have 9 points, and we could define better this part here. Click, control points, and now I'm going to move this upwards. In reality, now just controlling the upper one. Only when I change from 5 to 9, I will move this up and down, because I will have a point here that I will move lower to define the fin. Here I'm just defining this curvature, how I want it. Surface, so this can go slightly down. This one I can move slightly up. Okay, this is nice. I can accept this one. Here the belly, I can go slightly down there. This one has to go up. And now to do this one, or to join with these two, I'm going to make a very smooth horizontal movement. Okay, so here I will make this slightly movement so we can get near this one. It will never be exactly, but it will be near enough. Okay, so this one it seems nice. I'm going to put my fish again totally non-transparent, opaque, and let me see. So I have my shape defined, and now I'm going to divide vertically, or in this case creating more horizontal sets of points to refine it. Okay, nice. Eventually this one could be lower, so I'm going to, I'm lowering because I want the head to be more round, otherwise will not be as round as it should be. Okay, so move this carefully. Okay, I think this is going to give me a more round head. Perfect. Now escape twice, save the model, and rebuild this one. Okay. And now from 5 to 9. Why 9? Well, I have 5 points. If I want to have want to have points in the middle or between points, I'm going to add 1 point, 2 point, 3, 4. So 5 plus 4, 9. I'm putting the mean points. Okay, rebuild, and now we have 22 by 9. Okay, so let's start from the top to the bottom. I'm going to put these points according to this line here. Can be slightly up. Okay, and after I do this, I'm going to move this here. Why? Because I want to make this a smooth curve, so they have to be near each other, and the lower one I will push towards me to create this volume. So now I'm doing the fin, so you can see to the side what is being created, how the surface is being sculpted. And this is a question. Now, what I've noticed when we use this technique is when we do the first time, we tend to lose control. So if you want to gain this control, I think this approach is going to be a good one. So start with a few points, just to give you the volume that you want or are searching for, and then start increasing the number of points, first in one direction. We did in X to adjust the shape better, and after doing this, then we move to the other direction, and like this you will never, or this will be very difficult for you to lose control of what you are doing. And also, when you push the points, try to push them only in one direction. If you start pushing them freely, you certainly will lose control of them. So this is also a question of focus, sensibility, but with a certain type of approach. Very careful. I'm going as this is slightly slow. I'm going to make this part here so you could start seeing it. So the idea here is, okay, I have this, I'm going to move this point up. I'm going to change the mode to not render to shaded. Why? Because this, or eventually wireframe. Okay, this is going to be faster for me because it's not going to use all the graphic resources of the computer, and this will make this slightly faster. Okay, so this one is going to be slightly down the red line. Okay, I'm going to do this in this position. This one I'm going to move here. Okay, so slightly down, a little bit more. Do you see how I'm making this crease, and this allows for the fish to have this part rounded, like if it was apply a fillet to this top. Okay, we are using this technique. We could use sub D, but this is not the goal. The goal is to use the conventional surface to sculpt this. It's not using sub D or meshes. That's why we are doing this. It's not because we don't know how to do, but we want to show and to have control with this type of geometry. Okay, this has to go up. So this one also up. This goes up. This can go a little bit up. Okay, better. Now let's move. I'm going to try to go again to X-ray, so you can have a better contrast. Okay, this one should be low. That one is well. Let us move slightly up. Too much, less. Okay. Now this. Going here. Up, I missed this one. So move up. I'm doing this freely. We could eventually know exactly the dimension that we want and use like a table with intersection of curves to see how much we should move these control points, and then try to do it in a more mathematical way. But for the moment I'm doing now, I want this I have here the axis, so I'm going to click in another one. I'm going to move this slightly down. This I will move slightly up, and in this case I'm going to move a little bit to the side, but just a little bit, and then down, just to try to have this curve. Okay, these ones I can move up a little bit. See, I can make sets of points, and now this one. Now this has to go down almost to the red one. This one will also move down. Also move down, and it's going to be very near this one, or in this case we can let like this, and this one we will try to move inside and up. Okay, so this one is going to try to follow that one. Now here, with very careful, I'm moving in a slightly different way so I can get the effect that I want to. Okay, now this and this one can go slightly up a little bit, and then this and this one will go a little bit more up. Okay, so we are arriving to these ones. This I'm going to put slightly up. A little bit more for the curvature. Okay, the curve is nice. See, it's nice for the moment. Now I'm going to do a zoom here. I'm going to select this, this one, and this, and we are going to move a little bit to the outside. It means that this one and this and this also needed to be moved a little bit. Okay, now I have a bump here. Okay, so I click these three and again move them to the outside. Let me check. Okay, now I'm going to move this, and this also a little bit. And okay, eventually I've moved it too much, so this one I'm going to move. Okay, good enough. So oh, this was too much. This has to be less. Okay, now my fish looks okay. See, here I module too much, but when we look, it is more or less okay. Now I'm not doing this, but we could, by moving these points, we can try to adjust up here to get a nicer shape. Move up. Okay, first. Now the bottom, how it is. So let me see here. Okay, these ones we need to move it to the inside. So I will select these ones. And I will move a little bit to the inside. We need to move them up. Okay, less. And then inside. Now, I didn't control that, so I'm going to move down, yes, to make it flatter, and then here the better. Okay, so now I have to readjust these points. This has to go slightly down. Okay, I'm looking at two things: the height of the point here, this one, but also how is drawing this isocurve. So these isocurves are in reality my reference when I'm trying to sculpt the fish. At the side, this one I have to go lower. Okay, so now it's a question of sculpting. As our video is already in 1 hour, I'm going to stop it, and then I will do a fourth one already with the fish sculpt, and then we will do the eyes, the mouth, and the remaining part. So see you on the next video. Bye.